Well, hello everyone. I hope you all are taking very good care of yourself. Today in this video lecture, we are going to continue the male reproductive system, precisely the human male reproductive system. Okay. So in previous lecture, we have already studied that testis is protected by two protective layers of white connective tissue, and these are tunica vaginalis and tunica albuginea. Okay, now out of these two, the outermost is tunica vaginalis. Can you see? Now this tunica vaginalis is again bilayered. So tunica vaginalis itself is bilayered. The outer layer, this one, is called parietal layer of tunica vaginalis, and the inner layer is called visceral layer of tunica vaginalis. Now it is very easy to remember because parietal means on the outer side. Okay, visceral is the inner side. Okay, so parietal layer and visceral layer of tunica vaginalis. Okay, great. And we also have seen that the tunica albuginea then forms the innervations into the testis to create this septa, and as a result the entire testicular space is divided into these small lobe-like structures called testicular lobules, and in a test tube there are about 250 such testicular lobules. Okay, we also saw that each testicular lobule contains around 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules which are packed in a coiled manner, and hence we said that these are blind convoluted tubules. And these seminiferous tubules actually contain the germinal epithelium, where the process of meiosis occurs in the spermatocytes. As a result, sperms are produced, and therefore the seminiferous tubules are considered as both a structural and functional unit of the testis. Okay, great. And then we have seen that all the seminiferous tubules of one testicular lobule comes out through a single duct, and these ducts are straight and hence they form the straight tubules, as we can see here. Can you see here? These are straight tubules. See, these are straight tubules. Okay, and then all the straight tubules coming from each testicular lobule, they form a network-like structure. Okay, network-like structure where they merge with each other to form common tubes, and this network-like structure is called retitestis. This we have already seen. Okay, now from this retitestis emerges fewer but broader tube-like structure which carries the sperm produced in these seminiferous tubules, and these are called efferent ductule, or we also call them vas efferents. Vas efferents. Okay, so these are vas efferents. Remember, these are different from vas deferens. So this is vas deferens, right? Great. This we will talk later. So these vas efferents then come out of the testis. Okay, and then these vas efferents form the duct of epididymis. Okay, what are they actually? These are actually the highly coiled vas efferents. Okay, these are highly coiled vas efferents which mix with each other, and then they again form a highly coiled structure where they unite to form a single duct at the end, which is known as ductus deferens or vas deferens. Okay, so this we will see later. Now this entire coiled part formed from the vas efferents is called epididymis. Okay, now the number of epididymis, 1 per testis, and this epididymis is closely associated with the testis, as you can see here in the image as well. Okay, now this epididymis is divided into 3 parts. Okay, what are these 3 parts? Number 1 is head, body, and tail of epididymis. Okay, now head is this part. If we see from here to this entire thing is called head. So this is head of epididymis. Now the head receives this vas efferents from the testis and it makes the bulk of the epididymis. Okay, finally in the lower part, which forms the body of the epididymis, the various vas efferents starts to merge to form common tubes. Okay, and finally they keep on merging and merging and merging so that they can all unite to form a single duct. Okay, a single duct called vas deferens. So this single duct is containing all the secretion of all the seminiferous tubules of a testis. Okay, great. So this is epididymis. Now let us see what is the function of epididymis, right? Now when we are talking of function, there is mainly two functions of epididymis. Number one, it helps in temporary storage of sperms, and it also helps in maturation of a sperm. Okay, so the main function of epididymis is to temporarily store the sperms and facilitate their maturation. That's it. Okay, so the whole function is temporary storage and maturation of the sperms produced by the seminiferous tubules of a testis. And finally these all matured sperms are carried through the through the vas deferens away from the testis. Okay, great. So this is about epididymis. Now I would like you to recall about this spermatic cord. Okay, can you see here in this image? We have already seen or studied in the previous lecture about this spermatic cord, and there I told you that the cord is one bundle that contains, this is one bundle that contains the blood vessels, as you can see here, the red and the blue one, plus some nerves. Can you see here? This yellow one is the nerve, and the vas deferens. This entire thing forms one bundle called the spermatic cord. This spermatic cord enters into the body cavity through the inguinal canal. Okay, now once it reaches into the body cavity through the inguinal canal, that is, it reaches into the abdominal cavity, then what happens? Then this vas deferens takes a turn on the over the ureter on the urinary bladder. Okay, pardon. So once this vas deferens reaches into the abdominal cavity, this vas deferens, can you see this ductus deferens, comes and takes a turn over the ureter. Okay, and then finally the distal end of this vas deferens becomes swollen. Can you see here? So this part is swollen, and this swollen part of vas deferens is called ampulla. This is called ampulla of vas deferens or ampulla of ductus deferens. Right? Great. So this ductus deferens, finally the distal end of this vas deferens, that is ampulla, finally gets united with the duct of, can you see here? Let me use another color here. Say for example I'm using green. So can you see this? This is the duct of seminal gland or seminal vesicle. Okay, so let me use this color. This is the gland. This is seminal gland, and this is duct of the seminal gland, the blue, the green one. right? Finally, if you see, this is the vas deferens. Now this vas deferens and the duct of seminal vesicle joins here to form this tube. Can you see? Now this blue one, this tube is called ejaculatory duct. This duct is called ejaculatory duct. Great. And finally, this ejaculatory duct, the two ejaculatory ducts, one on each side, left and right, they drains finally into the prostatic urethra. Okay, that is urethra, which is coming from the urinary bladder. Okay, so it is actually a trijunction where the two ejaculatory ducts and the main urethra meets, and now this part of urethra is called prostatic urethra because it is covered by prostatic gland or prostate gland. Okay, great. So if I ask you what is the function of vas deferens, right? What is the function of vas deferens? Now the function of vas deferens is simple. It carries the sperms from epididymis to ejaculatory duct, right? So the function of vas deferens is simply to carry the sperms from the epididymis up to the ejaculatory duct. Okay, so if we think of the structure of the vas deferens, it is simply a tube-like structure. It is simply a small tube-like structure. That's it. Great. And you know that on the distal end it has swelling called ampulla. So this is vas deferens. Great. Well, so now we will see the seminal glands. Talking of seminal glands, as we can see in the picture above or the image above, the seminal glands are one pair in number. Okay, one on the each side, left and right. Now, these seminal glands are exocrine glands. Okay, these are exocrine glands because they have their own duct. Correct? So they have their own duct. Great. If we see structurally, they are elongated and lobular in structure. Okay, so if we are talking about seminal glands, they are one pair in number. They are ductful glands, that is, they are exocrine glands, and in structure they are elongated and lobular. Okay, great. Now, since these are glands, they secrete something. Okay, so they secrete seminal fluid. They secrete seminal fluid. So seminal glands, or they are also called seminal vesicles, secrete seminal fluid. Now, this seminal fluid, let us focus on the seminal fluid. If we are talking about seminal fluid, this seminal fluid forms about 60 to 80% by volume of semen. Okay, so the semen which is released by the male is majorly comprised of the seminal fluid. Okay, now what it is composed of. So if we look at the composition, the seminal fluid is composed of many things, such as it is composed of various proteins. Not only this, they also contain free amino acids. They also contains minerals such as zinc, magnesium, calcium, chlorine, sodium, phosphorus, potassium, and so on. Out of that, zinc is very important. Now, apart from this, they also contain prostaglandins. Okay, prostaglandins. Now, these are very interesting molecules. Okay, why? Prostaglandins, it helps in contraction of smooth muscles, as well as they help in improving the motility of the sperm, as well as it tones down the immune system of the female. So prostaglandins has multiple roles. Okay, this is part of what? Seminal fluid. Not only this, the seminal fluid also contains citrate, that is citric acid. Okay, inositols, and last but most important, it contains fructose. Now, fructose is a simple sugar, the sweetest sugar, right? And this fructose provides nourishment to the sperm. Not only this fructose, but also the inositol and various amino acids, minerals, they all help in providing nutrition to the sperms. Now, one very important thing that we have to discuss here is, in case of rape, okay, fructose is detected in forensics. Okay, so if there is fructose, it is a marker for the semen, right? So this fructose is important in forensics. Great. Physiologically, it is important for the nourishment of the sperms, because without this nourishment, the sperm cannot survive for a longer duration. Okay, great. Now, if we talk about the seminal fluid, the acidity of seminal fluid, this is slightly basic, or you can say alkaline. Okay, so the secretion of seminal vesicle is called seminal fluid, and it is slightly basic. It is composed of various proteins, amino acid, minerals, prostaglandins, citrate, inositol, and fructose, mainly fructose. Okay, great. And it forms about 60 to 80% of semen by volume. Okay, so approximately like 1.2 to 1.8 ml is seminal fluid. Okay, great. So this was seminal glands and their secretion, seminal fluid. Right, now we have already seen here that once this, okay, let me erase these things. Now suppose this blue one is the seminal fluid, so this is filled in these things, correct? And finally this secretion blue, that is seminal fluid, is secreted through this duct, and it mixes with this so-called, I'm using red for this sperm, right? So this is sperm, and finally it becomes yellowish colored compound, and this through the ejaculatory duct, so this yellow part is ejaculatory duct, finally comes into the prostatic urethra. Okay, great. So now it is clear, ejaculatory duct, which is very small, and then this prostatic urethra. Okay, later we will talk about urethra. There are 4 urethra. So there are 4 parts to urethra. This we will see later. Okay, so this is all about the seminal vesicle or seminal glands. Now let us talk about prostate. Okay, so let's talk about prostate. So talking of prostate gland, right? First of all, let's see the number. So talking of number, it is single. Okay, so every human male individual has only one prostate gland. Remember, only one. Talking of shape, it is inverted pear shaped. Okay, so it is like this. So inverted pear shape. Okay, great. Now talking of color, it is reddish. Okay, now where it is present, if we talk of the position, it is present at the base of urinary bladder. Okay, so at the base of urinary bladder, as we can see here in this image, see, it is present at the base of urinary bladder. Good. Okay. Many a times we also say the shape is conical. Well, so this is prostate. Now again, prostate is also a gland. It is a gland, so this is also going to secrete something. Now the secretion of prostate gland is called prostatic juice, or prostatic juice. Okay, now let us see in detail about prostatic juice or prostatic secretion. Okay, it will be better to say secretion, prostatic secretion. Well, if we talk of prostatic secretion, first of all, it is slightly acidic. It is slightly acidic. So its pH will be less than 7, correct? Now, it forms about 1/4 of the semen by volume. Okay, remember the seminal fluid formed almost 60 to 80%, correct? But the prostatic secretion only forms about 1/4 of the semen. Okay, great. Now, what is the composition of this prostatic secretion, right? What is the composition? So what we find is the prostatic secretion or the prostatic fluid is mainly composed of citric acid, or we can say citrate. So the prostatic secretion has a lot of citric acid and hence it becomes slightly acidic. Okay, now apart from citric acid, what does it have? It contains calcium, okay, and it contains fibrinogen, it contains fibrinolysin, or it contains phosphate, plus it contains some acid phosphatases. Plus it also contains some proteases. Okay, apart from that, it also have prostate specific antigen. Okay, now this prostate specific antigen is very interesting. Why? It is used as a marker for prostate cancer. Okay, ध्यान रखिएगा इस बात को. Males often suffers from prostate cancer, and this prostate specific antigen is the hallmark or is the marker for the prostate cancer. So if a male has high levels of this antigen, prostate specific antigen, then there is high risk of developing prostate cancer in this particular male. Okay, great. So the prostate gland produces prostatic fluid, and it is slightly acidic. It forms around 1/4 of the semen, and it contains a lot of things. These are citric acid, calcium, phosphate, fibrinogen, fibrinolysine, acid phosphatases, other protease enzymes, and prostate specific antigen. Okay, great. Well, the function of the prostatic fluid is to provide nourishment to the spermatodes or spermatozoa. Great. So the function of both the seminal fluid and prostatic fluid is primarily to do nourishment of the spermatozoa or the sperm cells. Okay, great. Now once this prostatic fluid is mixed with the sperm, now finally we see the entire mixture of sperm, seminal fluid and prostatic fluid moves down through the urethra, and it reaches the next structure called Cowper's gland. Okay, called Cowper's gland, or I should say glands. Right? Now, what are these Cowper glands? Again, before saying this, let us see the number. They are one pair, that is 2 in number. These are small spherical, or you can say bulb-like exocrine glands. Okay, so they are ductful glands present at the base of penis. Okay, so these are a pair of small spherical glands which are present at the base of the penis, as we have already seen in the previous lecture. Okay, now what is their function? Their function is they secrete alkaline lubricating fluid. Okay, alkaline lubricating fluid. Now the function of this fluid is, okay, the function of this fluid is, number one, to neutralize the acidity of the urethra due to residual urine. Okay, now let me tell you that urine is acidic in nature. Okay, and now this sperm has to pass through this common duct called urethra. Now the urethra may have some residual urine which makes it acidic, and if the sperms come in acidic environment, they may lose their motility, or there may be reduction in the number of sperms, that is, they may die. Okay, so in order to neutralize this acidity beforehand, the secretion of Cowper gland is produced. Okay. Secondly, what is the function? They lubricate the passage. Okay. They are like a lubricating agent. Okay. So these are the Cowper glands, a pair of Cowper glands. Now finally, let us talk about the external genitalia, that is penis. Okay. Now, if we talk of penis, now penis is composed of 3 tissues. Okay. If we see a TS, transverse section, and there is this. Okay. Now here this is urethra. Now these two are called corpora cavernosum. Corpora cavernosum or cavernosa, right? And this bundle is called corpora spongiosum. Okay, so this penis, which is external genitalia, is mainly composed of these 3 tissues, that is called 2 corpora cavernosum, okay, and 1 corpora spongiosum. Now this is a tissue which has large spaces into which the blood can fill. Okay, and hence this is a highly vascular structure. This is highly vascular. So if you see this corpora cavernosum and corpora spongiosum, actually there are large gaps, and in these gaps the blood comes and fills, and because of this filling of blood, the blood provides a hydrostatic pressure, and hence they can become stiff. Okay, or this hydrostatic pressure provides the stiffness required for the external genitalia. Okay, great. So this is the upper side and this is the lower side. So on the upper and lateral side are 2 corpora cavernosum, and on the lower side there is corpora spongiosum. Okay. Now let me tell you one more thing. When we are talking of penis, if you see the structure of penis, it is something like this. Or let me show you from the NCERT image that we have already seen. So if you see this NCERT image, let me zoom it for you. So this thing, remember, this entire thing is actually the tissue for penis. Okay, let me redraw it. So this is skin part, and then this entire part. Okay, so only this outer part is, this part is outside the body. This is called root of the penis, which remain inside your body. Okay, and at the base of this you find these 2 bulbourethral glands, which are also known as Cowper's gland. Okay, very good. Now this entire tissue is divided into 3 parts, that is 2 corpora. So this part is corpora cavernosum and this lower part is corpora spongiosum. Okay, great. Now as we can see here, this penis has clearly two parts. This is called shaft. This is called shaft, and this part is called glans. Sorry, is called glans, or it is also known as glans penis. Okay. Now, if you see this glans penis part, it has a retractable skin called foreskin, and in some cases it is removed. That process is called circumcision. This we have already spoke of. Okay, great. So this is penis. Now, what is the function of penis, right? Now, the penis is external genitalia, and its main function is to facilitate the transfer of male gametes, okay, or that is the sperm, correct? Now, the main function of any external genitalia is to facilitate the transfer of gametes. Now, here what we find is the sperm, or the male gamete or the sperm, is not pure sperm, okay? It also contains other fluids. It contains the secretion from seminal, it contains the secretion from the prostate and the bulbourethral gland or Cowper's gland. Now, this whole mixture of the sperm, seminal fluid, prostatic fluid and bulbourethral fluid is called semen. Okay. Now, the function of penis or the external genitalia is to facilitate the transfer of semen from the male to the female, or in other words, its function is to help in deposition of semen from into the female body, right? Now, so its main function is to facilitate the deposition of semen into the female body, right? And the process of doing so, right, the process of depositing semen into female body is called insemination. Okay, in for inside, semen. Okay, so insemination. So the main function of penis is to facilitate the insemination, right? Now, the process during which insemination occurs is known as coitus. Okay, the act of transferring the male gamete naturally into the female body is called coitus. Okay, great. Now, we have spoken of penis. Let me talk about urethra. Okay, so this we have left, so we are going to cover it here. Urethra, right? You know, urethra is a tubular structure that originates from the urinary bladder. It carries the urine so that it can be removed outside the body, right? Now, in case of male, if you see, this is the urinary bladder, correct? Sorry. This is the urinary bladder. Now, in this bladder, here is the prostate gland, and then here we have opening of bulbourethral glands. Okay, now before going there, let me also draw the opening of this ejaculatory duct. So this is ejaculatory duct from both the sides. Okay, and then we have the penis. Great. Now, can you see this urethra has distinctly 4 parts? Okay. Now see this. Let me use some other color. See this part. Now this part is the part which only contains urine. It has nothing to do with the gametes, right? Or the secretion of the reproductive system. Now this part of urethra only contains the urine, and hence it is urinary urethra. Urinary urethra, because it only contains urine. Now this part from here to here, which is present inside the prostate gland, or you can say which is covered by the prostate gland, is called prostatic urethra. Okay. Now apart from this, if you see this part, this is not covered, this is naked, right? The part of urethra between the prostate gland and the Cowper's gland is naked, and hence it is called membranous urethra, because it is not covered by anything, it is simply membrane. And then can you see from here up to here, all the way outside? Now this is the part of urethra which is inside the penis, and hence we call it penile urethra. Okay, so just remember that urethra has these 4 parts: urinary urethra, prostatic urethra, membranous urethra, and penile urethra. Okay, great. So what we have seen so far is we have seen testis, then we saw the epididymis, then we saw the vas deferens, then we saw seminal, prostate, then we see the bulbourethral gland, penis, and urethra. Okay, so this is more or less what these are the all structures which are present in the male reproductive system. Okay, now in next class we will talk more about male reproductive system from a different perspective. Okay, so till then, take a very good care of yourself and stay tuned. Thank you.